Well, hey, everybody, happy Monday. And I'd like to welcome you to Rhythm Flow Radio live stream right here on Meta Facebook Live, YouTube, and Spreaker. And I'd like to welcome you to Opinions. You can catch Opinions live every Monday right here on Facebook, YouTube, and Spreaker. Hey, with Opinionated Lorie and Professor Dunn. So while I wait for everybody to come into the screen, I want to say this is some strange weather. Do you know we're in May and Mother's Day is going to be Sunday, and I still got the heat on? For some reason, I cannot turn this heat off. This is some very strange weather. Another thing, you know, I think Father Time got stuck in spring and didn't let Mother Nature go so we can enjoy the spring. So I don't know. Maybe next week in Chicago, we'll have some nice warm weather. Because I'm telling you, I'm still having to wear a jacket. This doesn't make sense. I'm still running the heat in May. It doesn't make sense. And who knows? We may get some snow. Okay, I've got to find out. I see Professor Dunn. I got to find out where the host is, Opinionated Lorie. Let me check and find out where she is so she can start her show. And I truly hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. And I hope that you all, everyone who has a mom that's still living, I hope that you are able to enjoy her on Mother's Day. So hold on while I find out where Lorie is so we can get the show started. Okay, hopefully she'll pop in a minute and we'll let her start her show. Come on, Opinionated Lorie, where are you? Hopefully she'll pop in. Let me see what she's saying. Okay, she's having a technical problem. So she said just give her a minute and she will be logged in. And we'll let us start the show. Today's show is brought to you by my friends at Oval Cleaning. Oval Cleaning for all your cleaning needs. I tell you, when my basement is flooded back in March, and you wouldn't believe it, if I had a flood the day before Willie Wilson did the gas giveaway. And Oval Cleaning came to my rescue. I mean, they did an awesome job. As a matter of fact, while we're waiting on Lorie, I should let you see the video because I'm telling you, the work was fantastic. Check out this video.
Now, faith. It is the substance of things that is hoped for, and the evidence of things not seen. Faith. Where is your faith? See, I'm talking about that mustard seed. Faith. Come on with it. Show the Lord your faith. Well, I know him, this I know of him, he's my healer. This I know, but I know that he is faith. And I know him, this I know of him, he's my deliverer. This I know, that I know that he is faith.
So that's Oval Cleaning. So listen, if you need any kind of cleaning done, call my friends Mike and Steve at Oval Cleaning. That's 708 5286 825. Oval Cleaning for all your cleaning needs. Yay, there she is.
Hey,
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. Let me bring in Professor Dunn now that everybody's here.
All right.
All right.
We got
Hey,
the
Professor
professor in the
Johnny, how are
house.
you?
Oh,
All right, all right. Okay, Lorie, it's all
Hey,
yours.
hey, welcome to Opinion. And it's today is Monday, May 2nd. Can't believe it's Monday. Just crazy. The time how the time has flown.
And the weather too, honey.
And the weather, well, you know what? I must admit though, I was on vacation and I
Okay.
was in sunny, luxurious Nashville, Tennessee. And let me tell you, the weather was fantastic, as well as the music. So it was high 70s and low 80s, just really great weather. It was nice to get a little bit of a break from the weather, but we're here back in Chicago and ready to do what we do.
All right, everybody. This this is opinions, and you know what we do? We do give our opinions right here on Meta Facebook Live, YouTube, and Spreaker every Monday at 7 p.m.
That's right. That's right. So yeah, so as I mentioned, I was in Nashville and had a beautiful time. For those of you listening in the audience, I don't know if you've been to Nashville or not. It was my first time going. My initial, or before I went down there, I thought that my expectation was to be lots of country music and all of that. There was some country music, but really was a just like a mixture of different types of genres. I mean, everything from rock and roll, R&B, blues. I mean, alternative rock, you name it, they had it. And in some of the areas, what really impressed me was the crowd control down there. Quite a few people, people were, drinking, having a good time. Quite a few, I guess you would probably say maybe spring breakers, although I think spring break was more March. But I was just really impressed that it just didn't seem to have a lot of crime. And although I mean Nashville, is a big city, but it just also made me think, what can we do here in Chicago to sort of, we've kind of talked about the issue of crime, and we know what all the problems are and all of that. But what I wanted to do is to talk, the three of us talk, and then also invite the audience to give us their opinions. There was a article on Atlas One. It's basically a blog, and it gives out sort of five kind of solutions to combating crime and improving it for cities. So I wanted to just kind of go through each one and just kind of chat about and see, is that something that we could employ in Chicago? Would it work? Because obviously every city is different. There's not a one size fits all solution for for every city. So so I just wanted, so the first, so I'll just kind of jump into it, and then we can just kind of talk amongst ourselves. And like I said, give us a call as well, and yeah, give us your opinion. So the first one is Project Safe Neighborhoods. Now, this is something that has been used, and I'll just read through what it says here, and we'll put the link of these suggestions also onto the Facebook page as well, just in case if anyone wants to go out and take a look at that. But it says, so launched in 2001, the Project Safe Neighborhoods program is a nationwide initiative that brings together federal, state, local, and tribal law enforcement officials, prosecutors, community leaders, and other stakeholders to identify the most pressing violent crime problems in a community and develop comprehensive solutions to address them. On May 26, 2021, the Department of Justice launched a violent crime reduction strategy strengthening PSN, underscoring newly articulated core principles, and those principles are fostering trust and legitimacy in our communities, supporting the community-based organizations that help prevent violence from occurring in the first place, setting focused strategic enforcement policy, and measuring the results of our efforts. So I mean, they say it's federal. I'm not aware if Chicago is actually utilizing that or not. But do we think that this is something that would even work in Chicago? My opinion, I think it could if it has the right backing. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think in some communities it will work. In as a whole, I don't feel that there's any one particular method that's going to work. Um, it you can implement it, and it will probably signal uh, the use of other things that will be a cooperative spirit across the community. I hope it would anyway. But it has to start somewhere, is what I'm saying.
Okay. So do you think that this let me just dig into the depths of this. So they're saying that it's a project safe neighborhoods, and then just some of the points, fostering trust and legitimacy in our communities. Like, I don't even know really what that means. I mean, I mean, when they say trust and legitimacy, to me, it's kind of, I think what they're saying is it's alluding to the lack of trust in some communities, perhaps with police officers, and just kind of having a legacy of where things are not trusted, or people are not trusting, law enforcement. Perhaps that has something to. How do we do that? Mm, that's a very good question. I don't know. I mean, yeah. I mean, how can you take, just historically? There's been this sort of lack of trust with the community among police
You're
officers.
breaking up really bad.
Can you hear me?
Say what?
She's breaking up real bad. For me, I
Oh,
can't.
so you're
I can't.
breaking up.
Oh, can you hear me, Kitty?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Huh.
I can hear you.
Oh, okay. You think maybe it's something on your side? No.
Well, I'm checking to see, but
Okay.
you were first. You started having a little echo, and then of course you started breaking up. So
Because you
now
sound
I can
fine
hear
to
you.
me, and Katie sounds fine to me.
Okay, but when you were talking about Project Safe Neighborhood, I heard bits and pieces of that, but it broke up really bad on my end. But go ahead. We'll see.
I'm
Okay.
reading and it looks like Project Safe Neighborhood has already been launched here in Chicago. It says that looked like it was launched some years ago, and it says it's a nationwide federally funded initiative designed to bring federal, state, and local law enforcement together to promote a comprehensive and strategic approach to reducing gun crime. And this was back from 2007. And then I'm also seeing something from 2018.
No, it says that in May 26th, just last year, 2021, the Department of Justice launched a violent crime reduction strategy. Allegedly, this is to strengthen this Project Safe Neighborhoods. So, and they're saying, and that's those core principles, underscoring the newly articulated core principles. So those
Okay,
core
is this a new
principles.
program that they designed? Because from if you Google Project Safe Neighborhoods under Chicago, it's I'm looking at something way back in 2017.
Right. No, but what I'm saying though is that if you look on the article, it says that on May 26, 2021, the Department of Justice launched a violent crime reduction strategy strengthening PSN. So it's already there, but these core principles that they introduced in May 26, 2021 was designed to strengthen the program. So I guess by them saying strengthening it, it sounds to me like them launching it in 2021, that the 20 years that it didn't work for the 20 years. So by having these different principles, these are things that are strengthening it.
I
Well,
think one of the problems is that you know you've got to have in law enforcement you've got to have that trust of the people that live in the neighborhood. I mean, you can't police a neighborhood and you don't trust the police. It's just not going to work. If the people that live in a neighborhood have no trust in the police, and they know when they have a problem and they call the police and it takes them forever to get there, or sometimes if they never show up, you know, I don't know. I think it's a thing of having communications with the police department, with the neighborhood police, with the cops that work in your neighborhood. I think if you don't have some kind of rapport, some kind of trust in them, then there's always going to be a problem. And another thing is these neighborhoods need some money. Okay, they need to put some money into these neighborhoods and have programs for the young people. That's a,
Absolutely.
that's missing. I mean, I can remember when I was growing up, there were there were just all kind of outlets. We went roller skating, we went swimming. There were different organizations that did things. We went to camp, all kind of things that came around that we got involved in that kept us busy. And
Hmm.
by keeping us busy, we didn't have time to let our mind be idle and get in trouble or be influenced,
Absolutely.
you
And it
know.
seems to me that they're, and I'm looking at these core, and to add to what you're saying, Katie, I'm just these core, they're calling them these core principles,
Mhm.
fostering trust and legitimacy, supporting community-based organizations that help prevent violence, crime from occurring in the first place. That it sounds like what that is. That's what that is. But where are these programs? Where are these community-based organizations? What are they doing? I mean, I
Where
know
is
they
the
exist.
money? Where is the money?
Yeah, well, but where's the organizations though? I mean, do the because they used to have like what was it, off the street club? I don't even know if that still exists anymore.
I don't know. There used to be one right on Madison
Oh,
near
absolutely. My
Pulaski.
siblings used to
With
be
over
belong
here.
to that.
Yeah, there used to be one there. There was a
Yep.
center of for peace over on Madison, near Leamington. No, it was down the other way near oh, what street is that? Cosner. I think it was a school. No, that was the thing that they did for the unwed mothers. But they had a
Hmm.
by the McDonald's on Madison. You know where the McDonald's is on Madison
Yeah.
and west of Cicero. There
Hmm.
used to be a center for peace up there. You used to see kids in there playing ball, shooting pool, and doing all kind of things. I don't know what happened to it. There's a By the Hands program over on Laramie, right at Lake Street. I don't know what's going on over there, but they need some outlets where kids can do things, where we can keep their minds occupied.
And
Well,
maybe it is funding because apparently it looks like they
well,
still exist, but
no,
apparently I mean, there must not be any funding for these programs because
no, it's
especially
not.
because go
Um,
ahead, Donna.
the over the years, the funding
Hmm.
has been getting less and less and less in the areas that you all are talking about. And actually, that's what the big fight is over right now when we talk about defunding the police departments because efforts were made in the last 20 years or so to put more um, military style arms in the hands of police and put more people in positions to incarcerate individuals, to handle more folks in jails than basically in programs to prevent people from going,
Hmm.
actually to even rehabilitate them after they've been put in jail. Most of the funding in those areas has been drastically reduced, and that's why many of the centers are closing down, and the funds are not there that are available to maintain them.
Right. I would definitely, I would love to know a bit more about what's happening specifically with that club. If any of our listeners know, give us a call at 224-484-0962. And yeah, we'd like to chat with you about that and see like maybe maybe someone knows what's going on. They may have, school age children, and maybe they're participating in it. Let us know, because we really want to talk about that. And then also find out if, there's an opportunity for, people to donate to it, and to get it really going, because, we have a desperate problem in the city. And the thing is, when you have young people, and if they're blessed to live until adulthood, if they haven't been able to kind of channel their energy into something positive, they're going to end up meeting negative consequences. You had just last night, it was a young woman that was killed downtown, I believe, by the was it Tin Pin, the bowling alley near House of
Ooh.
Blues. There was some sort of a conflict. I'm not sure. The boyfriend was cheating, and she let her friend know, and he got upset at the friend, and killed her in cold blood, and also shot her sister as well. And fortunately, the sister survived, but yeah, it was just really an unfortunate situation.
Wait a minute, did you say she caught her boyfriend cheating?
Yeah, the friend caught the her friend's boyfriend cheating.
Mm-hmm.
I guess he got upset at the friend, at her her girlfriend. She got upset, or he got upset and killed her. I guess because she was putting her nose in, I guess, in their business or something like that.
Well, another thing that I think we should have talked about as well is that parents are getting younger and younger,
Mm-hmm.
and their perceptions of how to deal with community-based problems are changing drastically, and going a bit soft in terms of controlling the children before they get out in the streets in the first place. And something has to be done even from that level. That's a cooperative effort between community organizations and parents, trying to make sure that we are accountable for the children, especially in cases where you have children who really don't have parents. We all have to become parents ourselves, like the older people in our neighborhoods used to be. There were those of us who didn't have parents, who our parents had passed, and we were grandparents' children, or living with auntie or whoever. But everybody became your parent in the neighborhood. When they saw you walking around, they had the right to ask questions. Where are you going? What are you doing out this time of night? Whatever. I think people are afraid to do that in the community now.
Yeah,
Children.
I think it's that, because actually, something very interesting that the Pew Research Center shows, that teen pregnancy rates has actually gone down, and not just in overall, but in every demographic, in the Hispanic community, Black community, white, Asian. It's all gone down pretty drastically. It went from, in 2008, 62.8 all the way down to 24.4.
These teens now, they were born way before 2008.
Right, but I guess what I'm saying though, I don't think it's necessarily that we have a teen pregnancy issue or anything like that. I think it's a culture issue, because these people where this thing is happening, these people are already in their 20s, and some of their parents, they have a poor, just in terms of their background and dealing with.
Because when they had those children that were 20 years old, now they were 13, 14, and 15. And that is where their education stopped.
Yeah,
Right.
that's what I'm talking about.
Right, but I guess what I'm talking about.
Let me just
But
finish.
here's the thing, though. We can't go back into the past, because
No, just
right. But let
let
me
me finish
say
and
my
you'll
point.
understand
My
what I'm
point.
saying.
Right,
Let me
but my
finish and
point. Let me finish my point, though. My
okay,
point is
go
that
ahead.
we've already had the yes, they were, they did experience teen pregnancy, but those rates have gone down. So we can't go back in the past and change that. And we've actually, so that's one success that we've had in the country in general, and like I said, all across all demographics, we've greatly improved that. We've improved the teen pregnancy rate. That's great. But now we have to deal with some of these cultural issues in terms of this culture of violence that's happening. So it's and like I said, these people are not young people or 5 or 6 years old. These people are in their 20s now. How are we going to change their mindset? Because these are the people that are killing. And that's how you stop the cycle. So even if you're not
and that was my point. My point was that we have to have somewhere to begin, and we must begin in the homes where these people are coming from, because otherwise you can't just walk up on the street and decide that this person here is a potential mugger or whatever just because they are a certain race. That's profiling, and so we have to start somewhere where they are coming from, and start working with people, even in cases where children may not be, whether young people may not be, whether middle-aged people may not be. The biggest problem is, and I think what you're missing, Lorie, is the fact that baby boomers are now becoming the grandparents of these young people we're talking. Baby boom era was when there were a large number of people out there coming into the system, and they were working. The people born in the 50s. But now we're becoming grandparents. And so the grandchildren and great-grandchildren are the ones that we're looking at in terms of being victimized or becoming victims of what's going on in the streets right now, are actually becoming the ones who are perpetrating, who are out there actually committing the crimes. So
right, I hear what you're saying, and I understand what you're. Go ahead.
Making my point. Okay. So what I was trying to say to you is the perpetrators, the people that are committing the crime, these are the offsprings of those 13, 14, and 15-year-olds. These children have now turned 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. They're grown. They're older. Yes. Okay, let me finish. When these young mothers made these babies at 13, 14, and 15 years old, a lot of their education stopped right there. It didn't go any further. They didn't go back to school. They didn't get a trade, and they didn't do anything. So at 13, 14, and 15, what can you teach a child? You're a child yourself. So how can you teach that baby? Okay? That baby grows up and he is out of control.
Right.
He says something to his mother, and he rebels.
Right. I mean, that's true.
If he rebels at home, he's gonna go out in the street and do the same thing.
Yep, absolutely, and that's why
that's what you have out here now, acting crazy on these streets. Not only in Chicago, in a lot of other cities.
Yep.
These are kids of young parents. Now you got some of those parents who had those kids and went on back to school, went to college, and got educated. But it's those that didn't do anything. A kid can't raise a child.
Right. But okay,
if your mind stops at that, if your mind stops, your education stops at 13, 14, and 15, and you didn't do anything else.
Right. So I once again, I don't think it's necessarily a problem of their age. It's a problem of culture. It's a culture of violence. So that's why they need mentors. They need people to come in, and they need to have programs. I mean, otherwise it's going to be the same thing over and over again.
Well, I think culture begins at home. That's where it starts. It has to begin at home.
But if you're not getting it at home, then what do you do?
Well, I mean, if you're not getting it at home, then you need to start educating people. You can't throw money into it and expect the government to replace the home. That's what's happening now. The government has given kids the option of saying, I don't want you to be my parent anymore. And if you try to impose your will upon me, I'm gonna call the police on you.
That's right.
And so that's the wrong and culture to actually
Right.
advocate in the first place, because that's telling parents then, okay, you should be happy that we're going to come in and beat your child down or possibly shoot them, rather than you have to go to jail for disciplining them some kind of way. And so, what kind of choice is that to make? I mean, that's ridiculous as far as for giving people that kind of decision they have to make about the children. That's ridiculous to give a
Yeah.
child the impression that it's better to go to jail than it is to go to school.
Hmm. So okay, so we talked about so that first point, that was the project Safe Neighborhoods.
Yes.
Second one is community oriented policing. So the suggestion around that one is that community oriented policing (COP) is an organizational framework encouraging changes in the decision making processes and overall culture within police departments. Specifically, COP asserts that police agencies should not limit themselves to traditional law enforcement for the prevention and control of crime. Instead, police should draw on community insight and involvement in the definition, prioritization, and response to crime problems. Community oriented policing comprises three components. So they're saying community involvement, organizational transformation, and problem solving. And these tenets closely interact with one another, and the effectiveness of an overall community policing strategy hinges on implementing them together. So, I once again, I don't know if this is still happening or if this is happening in Chicago. I think one of the challenges here is that we're 2,000 police officers short on the force currently due to all the retirements and people just the lack of interest in going into the police force. So that's going to be a tough thing to fill if you just don't have enough police officers.
Well, I'm not anti-police, but then again, I don't think that you can throw police at this problem and try to solve it. I think maybe the police and the attitudes that the ones that they have, and many of them that they have on the forces right now, need to be retrained in terms of their minds in the way they look at policing itself.
Now, what
Or
about
when it comes
community?
to
Because what about community involvement? Because what this thing is saying, so it's not saying that it's just the police that are going to that we would have to rely on. It's saying that the community needs to get involved in it as
well,
well.
the community, what you're saying is the community has to have an impact on the officers who are out there doing the job. And they have to have input in that process. And in
Right.
order for them to do that, like I said, the screening process in the police departments has to change, because obviously individuals don't know what happened in the 80s when the Klan decided that it was going to wind up infiltrating all of these departments of police departments and actually militarize the domestic department, because the military itself cannot shoot people on the street. But the people who are in the police uniforms and the deputies and highway patrolmen, they have the authority to shoot individuals in America over the army. And of course, when the Klan itself decides that it's going to get in there and poison the mind of the people, how can you get that out of those individuals or determine who's been impacted by that and what impact that's having on the overall thing that we're looking at right now when it comes down to crime in the street and everything else that's going on.
Right. And here's the other thing. A lot of the structure of these police departments have really changed now because you have, first of all, a lot of these people that were kind of doing all the dirt and part of other organizations and things like that. A lot of them have retired. And then the other thing is that so you have a lot of rookies that are on the police department. They're very green. They really don't have any sort of knowledge. That somebody there that would have been on the force for a long time, and you have a shortage. I mean, there's job shortages everywhere, or personnel shortages. So, and even like I said, the Chicago Police Department is short 2,000 officers. So, that's leads for a very interesting situation. So, I mean, I can appreciate wanting, community involvement and, having some sort of, just working with the police department, but there's not enough police there. In a lot of cases, the police are outnumbered. I remember there was a clip last year, I think it was like last summer, and I think they were trying to break up a fight or something like that. And you had people out there, this is on the South Side, they were attacking the police officers. And it was, and you could see their faces. A lot of they were very young officers, like in their 20s, just started the force. They didn't know what to do. They didn't know how to respond. So it's like it's gone from one extreme to another extreme.
Well, I think one of the basic suggestions I would make is that if there are 2,000 police officers short, why don't they find some responsible citizens in the community and deputize them and give them the authority to help to police their communities as adjunct or volunteer police officers or whatever.
You think they're going to do it? I don't think most of these kids nowadays, they don't even want to work another job that's even safer.
I'm not saying it doesn't have to be the kids, Lorie. There are more people in the communities that are tired of being victimized by this, being caught up as hostages in the middle of what's going on, than there are children. There are older people who are capable, who have military training and everything else, who are at home, who are tired, who, if they're called upon and given the right resources and the right support from the police community, they will help. But if you come and expect us, being victims, to volunteer information and tell you about things, and then you leave us as victims after we volunteer the information to the people who are the criminals, who know us and know where we live, and we're not going to be protected, why are you going to expect us to jump up and become advocates of the police program? No, that's why you don't get no information from people when people commit crimes.
Well, that's an interesting suggestion. I'd like to know what the audience thinks. Give us a call, 224-484-0962. We'd like, what do you all think about that? Would you be willing to step in and be a police officer, a deputized police officer? Let us know
not
what you
necessarily
think.
just a police. I don't want to put like a police officer, but I don't like a police officer. How about just a deputized citizen?
224-484-0962. Give us a call. Let us know what you think about that. Okay. All right. So let's move on to the next point. So the next point, or the next suggestion for improving crime, is hotspots policing. And this one is hotspots policing focuses on police resources on the most crime-ridden micro locations within a city, facilitated by innovations in crime mapping. Many police agencies have advanced their geographic understanding of trends within their jurisdictions for the application of concentrated intervention. Findings by the National Police Research Platform from a survey of U.S. police agencies reported that 75% of PD respondents use hotspot policing interventions. And I think one example of that is they just put that new, I think it was a community post. I think it was state police and CPD in River North, because of all the crime that's kind of exploding over there. So I think that's an example of doing like hotspot. So does that work? Is that something that, I mean, what do you think, Katie?
I know I was listening to you say there were 2,000 police short in the city of Chicago.
Right, about the what do you do about the hotspots policing, that strategy?
They can concentrate on certain areas, but I thought they were already doing that. It don't look like it's working.
But does it? So you don't think it works then? It's a waste of time.
No, it's not a waste of time.
You
I
know,
think they should take
I'm
the money. I'm sorry.
I'm old fashioned. I'm old fashioned. Okay, I just was brought up a different way. You see, I think everything starts at home. I really do. I mean, you can talk
It
about
does.
how can we. You can talk
So
about how can we do this? How can we prevent this? How can we prevent that? It starts in the house.
right, but
Okay.
let's say you start at home. What do you think about the hotspot policing? So you don't think it matters then? Is
No,
what
I
you're
don't
saying?
think it matters. I don't think
No,
it'll work.
I don't
I
think it
think
matters.
I think
I
it's
think what
just
they
a
need to
waste
do,
of taxpayers' money.
Okay.
Okay,
yeah,
that they could take that and put it in some kind of federal program for the children. Okay, like community centers and things. I mean, you got to have get some economic development in the neighborhood. You have to have a program that that fits that neighborhood. All programs are not going to fit the same neighborhood.
Okay. But
One
say,
neighborhood
but let's
on the south side may be different from the neighborhood on the west side or the east side.
okay. So let's
So
say
you
we have
have
the
to.
programs and then do the hot spots. Do you think that would be a good combination, or just forget about the hot
I
spots
think they should
altogether?
take the money that they're wasting on the hotspot,
Okay.
okay, and put it into economic development in the neighborhood.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
that's what I
That's fair
think.
enough.
I mean, it because that crime that's going out there, probably to North Riverside or River North, wherever, it's probably coming from a neighborhood.
Yeah.
Okay, it's coming from they're coming from somebody's neighborhood that don't live down there. So
Mm-hmm.
take the money and put the money where the money needs to be put instead of
Yeah.
throwing it away in all of these programs that are not working. Go to
well,
that
I think
neighborhood
another thing
and
that
write a
really needs to
program
happen.
that is designed for that community.
Yeah, I think another thing that could work, Lorie and Katie, is the fact that, and you're right, Katie, they do need to divert some of the money. If they take the money, for instance, that they're wasting up and charging people, overcharging them for the lights, running through the lights and getting tickets for that. If they take that money, those traffic fines, and put those cameras that they're putting on cars, talking about going through a red light in areas where people are getting shot at, I believe it will cut down on some of the shooting because you'll get more pictures of individuals out there on the street. But they care more about giving tickets for running red lights than they do about stopping people from getting shot. Obviously,
Okay. So my opinion on this hotspot policing is I think that it's definitely necessary, especially when it comes to talking about the tourism areas. And I know that's probably not a popular thing to say. I know that people get upset and they say, "Oh, well, there's crime in neighborhoods. You care more about rich people or
And that's
than
basically
other
what they
people."
do.
Right,
That's
but okay,
you said it. That's
right,
basically
but
the answer.
let me give you my rationale behind that is that Chicago is a very major tourism destination. Just in I think it was 20 well just in 2016 um well let's just talk about 2021. The spending plunged to 23.3 billion dollars in tourism, and that, I mean, you think, okay, that sounds like a lot of money, but back in 2013 Chicago brought in 140 billion in tourism. So that's a lot of money, right? So and then the other thing is that the a lot of the tourism areas, they subsidize the taxes for a lot of the other poor communities that are not bringing in a lot of tax money. So to make a long story short, we need to have these tax dollars to come into the city, to help fund a lot of the other programs that are going on. I mean, could we have more programs? Absolutely, we definitely need more programs, but we need to have this tourism. If our tourism drops, which it is, it has dropped in a lot of other cities, like like Nashville and other cities they're taking up the slack, becoming more, where people feel safer to go. Whether the numbers are there or not, there's definitely you know, an appearance that Chicago is not a safe city. So, I think my personal opinion is that this hot spots, we definitely need it, particularly in the tourist areas.
Well, I don't agree with that. And I don't agree because I think it leaves too much room for discrimination that's going on anyway, and it actually adds fuel to de facto segregation, separation, misogyny, everything that's going on that we've been saying we're against. You're sitting there saying, okay, we need to put more money behind that because we're going to hotspot areas, but you're protecting the rich and jeopardizing the future of individuals who are working. And they're not just poor people. These are middle class working people who make money, who are living in these communities that are being victimized. And you're talking about, not putting any police over there. You're talking about protecting.
Right. But that's not what I'm suggesting. It's not
yes,
it's not a or proposition. It's an and. So it's like, okay, we can have the programs in the neighborhoods that need it to help improve the crime, and we can also have hotspot areas to make sure that we protect our tourism, because that's our money. Tourism, that's jobs. So a lot of people in the neighborhoods work in these tourist jobs, and if Chicago is not an attractive destination any longer, that means that there will not be these jobs available.
As you know, I got to step in on this one. I got to. I was tourism. So when the tourists come to the city of Chicago, where do they go? They don't come to the west side.
No, they go downtown. Absolutely.
That mean you always cut me off.
No, I'm agreeing with you.
They don't go to Inglewood.
That's true.
They don't go to Roseland.
Yep.
No.
Okay.
Yep.
Absolutely. So they take that money and they put it where? Downtown.
Yep.
Put that money in the neighborhood. That's all I'm saying. You made my point.
Yep.
You made my point.
You're actually making my point.
No, you're making my point. You said we have to have tourism. They got to put that money so the tourists, when they come to town, they can make more money.
Yep.
Okay. Wait a minute. What about the tax-paying citizens that live in the city of Chicago?
Right. A lot of those
split that money equally in those neighborhoods.
Right. Okay.
So you put it in River North.
Okay. So you said
put it in the Loop.
Right. And you said, what about those people? A lot of those people work in tourism. You have a lot of people that are from the neighborhoods that they work in hotels, they work in the restaurants, they work in companies.
Still got to go home to a neighborhood.
They come to supply companies and all that. Absolutely. And so that's why I'm not saying that they should not put any money in those areas, but I'm saying that they have to have this hotspot sort of policing to make sure that these areas are safe.
Hotspot the neighborhood with some federal dollars. Okay, that's what they need to do. They take that money. I mean, every last mayor we've had has taken that money. Go downtown in that Loop. Go up on that north side and look at those neighborhoods, and then ride out to the arteries that lead from downtown.
And I think that you see. Yep, and I think that they can do both.
You can tell when you leave from downtown and come to the west side.
I think that they can do both.
They're taking the money, doing the wrong thing with it.
Yeah, and I think they can do both. I don't think it's not a and or, it's a and. Like they can do that.
No. I wish you were correct about that, but that's not true. When all of the stuff.
Why is it not true?
When the crime came downtown, when they had the rioting and everything, and when the Black Lives Matter riots were going on downtown, they raised the bridges to keep the people from downtown. So it wasn't no and/or situation then. It was saying we're going to keep these people out of here because we don't want them downtown.
I lived downtown, and I was happy that they did that to the bridges because it was...
Okay, I know you would be happy because you cut out a different thread. We're talking about people who come from the community who do not want to...
No, let me tell you what happened downtown.
They're working, and they deserve to live safe like everybody else.
Right. But let me tell you what happened downtown with those bridges and all that kind of stuff. Before they put those bridges up, it was pandemonium. You had people running down the street. The 7-Eleven that that I go to, they were breaking the windows, grabbing stuff out of there. I mean, it was shooting. I mean, just all kinds of stuff. I mean, I didn't feel safe.
Girl,
That's one of the reasons I moved away from
doing
downtown.
That in my neighborhood. They've been doing that on the west side of Chicago for years, and didn't nobody
and the south
care.
side as
Let me
well.
tell you about Chicago. The Chicago we live in.
All I can say is I was happy that they did.
I'm glad you were happy. But let me tell you about the Chicago we live in. I'm just going to tell you about a few incidents that happened. As long as something is going on in a black neighborhood, okay, and I'm not racist, okay, but I'm just speaking the truth. If it's going on in my neighborhood among black people, they give less than a you know what. But now let this happen in one of their neighborhoods, and it's all over the news. And now we've got to do something. Well, hell, you should have started doing something when they start calling the police and asking you to come to the black neighborhood where this problem started. You didn't send the police. You didn't do anything about it. But then when they go downtown and start doing it, now you want to make a fuss out of it. And that's the attitude that this city has. And they need to stop doing that. And you made my point. Yeah, they got to put that money downtown. For them tourists, when they come in, well, put some money in the neighborhood where I live.
But the thing is, though, it's not just for the tourists. The thing, do you know how much money that this tourism and the downtown core, they subsidize a lot of the tourist dollars for the neighborhoods. They pay more taxes.
What neighborhoods do they subsidize them for?
They pay more taxes than the citizens in a lot of the neighborhoods. So those tax dollars are used in the neighborhoods too. A lot of people don't know that.
No, do you know how many?
That's a fact right there.
They're not used in our neighborhoods. They are though. Their neighborhoods.
Do you know how many billions of dollars are spent from people coming outside of Chicago's Magnificent Mile area because they bring money into the city too? So there's no comparison if we start talking about numbers and crunching them here, because
there is a comparison.
No, because the numbers of the individuals out there who make the small amounts of money, if we say the six figures, are going to be small in comparison to these rich folk down here. They're protecting those people. The numbers out here are going to outnumber those people. The money just has to be channeled into the rich folk who control the economy anyway. So it's not either or. It's people. Every man. When somebody on the south side gets shot, somebody on the north side bleeds in Chicago. When somebody on the west side gets shot, somebody on the east side bleeds in Chicago. That's the way it got to be.
Katie said it herself. People, the tourists, they're not going to the south side. No, they're coming downtown.
You know
that's
why they're not going?
Money.
Wait a minute.
That's our industry.
Let me tell you why they're not going, because they're not spending a damn dime in the neighborhoods on the east, on the south side.
And that's true. The tourism, they're going downtown. So
right,
we have to protect
of course they're going downtown.
You keep making our point, but you're not listening to yourself. I
am listening to myself that we have to protect the industry, the tourism industry.
Who's got to protect it? Who's got to protect it? The working people?
The tax dollars, because the people in neighborhoods are not.
Where the tax dollars come from? The working people. So the working people got to protect the tourist industry.
No, the tourists are the ones that are paying it. The tourists are the one that are tourist industry. It's the people that are coming to visit the city. That's why you call it tourism. The tourists are paying that, not the everyday people.
And they're gone. Okay.
What's that?
Those tourists come to town for a few minutes and they're gone. They're
absolutely. 4 or 5
days a week,
but the companies are making money. The companies make money from tourism.
Right.
If there is no tourist, the tourism industry, they pay people salaries and jobs. People work in the tourism industry.
Okay, the tourist industry damn near closed down during the pandemic, right?
Yep, it did.
Chicago kept going, right?
And we lost a lot of money.
Did Chicago close down during the pandemic?
We lost a lot of money, and we got
no. Chicago kept going because people were still paying taxes in Chicago.
No, the reason Chicago kept going, Don. The reason Chicago kept going is because we received federal grants, like
No.
most cities, not just Chicago.
No, because the money that kept coming into Chicago still was coming from the same poor people.
Yeah, but those were federal grants. It was
Now, all
inflated.
of-
That's the other thing too, is that most, and not just Chicago's not unique in that aspect. I mean, all the PPP loans and all the different grants that held up and bolstered all the industries, and that was artificial way to hold it and bolster it up.
Well, wait a minute, Lorie. If you're talking about federal money, then the poor people keep Chicago going because the poor people who are the ones who getting like welfare programs, and of course the landlords with all these businesses who buildings have
Well,
like.
welfare
No,
does
wait a
not.
minute, hold up. They have Section 8 money that they get from the government. That's like welfare. That's what it is. They wait on a check every month if they own a building and Section 8 pays for it, right?
Okay, but you asked the question though, Don. You asked who during the pandemic, who you said who kept the city running.
Yeah,
It was
well,
the
I'm
federal
answering that
dollars.
question
It was
now.
not welfare. Did not keep the city. If anything, it was corporate welfare. The government gave
Corporate ain't gave
to
you nothing. The
everyone to
government
keep
ain't gave
bolster.
you something.
It was the
Corporations ain't gave you
government.
nothing but some higher prices.
It was the government. Look at all the PPP loans that went out.
And I'm telling you right
Lorie,
now.
where did go look up those PPP loans and see where the bulk of that money went to. You go put in PPP loans and look and see who got the bulk of the PPP loans.
Right, but that's
the poor people.
But that's not my point. That wasn't my point.
Yeah,
Don
that
asked
was
the
my
question
point.
of how did the city keep going, and my retort to that is that it was because of the federal government and the grants, and not just Chicago, all cities,
And
New
I'm
York,
saying that's not
Los
true.
Angeles, everywhere.
That's not true. That's not true.
Oh, the government didn't give out grants during
No,
COVID.
the government
Is that
did
true?
give out grants, but the government grants were nothing in comparison to the taxes that the people were paying and are still paying all along the time when the government grants were not here.
Okay, so are you asking? But you're talking about before COVID.
I'm talking about before COVID, during COVID, and after COVID.
Okay, well
Chicago
we have to break that down because then that's not true. Before
I
COVID,
just broke it down. You missed the point.
no,
of
I
what
didn't
I'm
miss.
doing.
I know I didn't. Well, you just lumped it together, and that's not accurate.
No, I bunched it together because of what you just did.
Okay, but if you're talking about before
You said
COVID,
tourism paid all that. The tourist dollars paid for all that.
I said the tourist dollars help subsidize a lot of the taxes that the other communities were not paying, and that we need to protect our tourist industry. That's my
Okay,
point.
so other communities were not paying. Is what I'm telling you. They all pay taxes.
Of course, they pay taxes, but it's
Okay.
subsidized. It's
And
subsidized by
when
the
tourists
major companies.
and when the tourists
and
are
the
not
tourist
here, those
industry.
taxes are still paid.
Wait, say that again.
When the tourists are not here, when the tourism industry experiences a dip, the taxes are still going to be the same. They're going to be either the same or higher.
Okay, well, when we talk about it, let's qualify that, because what I'm talking about is what happened during COVID.
I just qualified it.
Right. Let me finish. Let me finish. During COVID, it received a major dip. It went to a standstill, and that's why the federal government reached in with all the different loans with the PP, what was it, paycheck protection loan. That's specifically what it was for, so they can pay the people that were in the tourism industry because they couldn't, pay for it themselves. So really, it was the government. It was the government that was bolstering the economy.
No, what you did with your answer was avoided the point of the question I was trying to make. And I don't want to make this become a debate, but my question was, did Chicago shut down during the pandemic? And because the tourism was not here.
Right, we didn't have tourism, but we had federal dollars, though.
Not but we had federal dollars. Did Chicago shut down?
We had federal dollars, because not only did we not have the tour, in addition to the tourism, people didn't have jobs. They weren't going to work. So what did they do? Oh, they had added the extended benefits for unemployment too, and that was also once again funded by the federal government.
And all of that money still wind up reverberating right back into Chicago, and it didn't miss a beat from tourism, since you said tourism is what carries the business up here.
They didn't miss a beat, but my point is that it was federal dollars that did it. It
But your
wasn't
point
because
is not valid.
anyone. Well, no, it is because it was.
No, it's
Are you
not.
saying that it was not federal dollars? Is that what you're saying?
No. We're not arguing particulars right now, because you
Well,
remember
but we
now,
have to argue
you don't
particulars
no
if
no no
if you
no.
want to debate that point.
You're the one who don't want to be case specific. So now hold up.
Oh, I do want
Let's
to be
talk
case
about what you
specific.
said. You said tourism was the one that ran the business in Chicago, and we
Right.
should be able to
Prior.
protect.
Wait,
No,
but
we should protect. No, we should protect tourism. That's what you
but
said.
that's let me tell you what I said. Don't misquote me. What I said is that tourism outside of COVID, tourism is what keeps the economy going in Chicago. Is a major part of it. It's a very large part of it. That's what I said. And also what I said is that during COVID, because tourism really was severely hit, the federal government gave funds to help bolster the economy in the city, and with PPP loans, with enhanced unemployment, they were given that extra, was it $600 every 2 weeks in addition to the state funds. So yeah, it was okay only because of that. But see, now all that funding has gone away. That
No, but
$600 every 2
the
weeks
point.
went away.
Okay, the point you were making was that they got us off on this in the first place, was that you needed hotspot policing in those areas to protect tourism dollars.
Right. My opinion is that they should focus on other areas is fine, but my opinion is that they should focus on the tourist areas.
My
Because we
opinion
took a
is
major
they
hit
should.
in tourism during COVID.
They should focus on trying to protect the city as a whole, because if the danger of being shot is on the west side, they can start shooting people down on Mag Mile.
Right. And I mean, I don't object, just to be clear, I don't object to them, going to other neighborhoods, but I'm just saying that if they go anywhere specifically, they need to put a focus on the tourist areas too, because we're losing out, and that's a lot of money that we're losing out on.
Well, we may be losing out on tourist dollars, and true enough, but I don't think it should be like a hotspot, high priority, targeted objective to try to protect the tourists over all other people up here who are living here every day and steadily putting money in the environment.
But can't they do both though? Can't they walk and chew gum at the same time? Focus on the tourism and the neighborhoods?
Of course you can do that, but I'm just saying, which one do you pinpoint on the map when you start talking about where the priorities are going to be?
I feel that it should be a multitude. I mean, downtown should be, for sure one, and there should be several because we have all the different regions. And then also in the various neighborhoods that are having some of the, like the Roselands and the, Austin and, wherever, back of the yards, wherever there's, serious issues.
Well, that's, if they put the money in Bronzeville and Roseland and the other areas that they're spending just to protect downtown, if they just took the money, the legitimate money that's being spent already, and put it down there to help those people to bolster the economies, it would create more jobs and probably take a whole lot of the criminals off the street that are down there just struggling, trying to make it.
Yeah. So that's very interesting subject. Okay, so let's move on to the next one though. So the next one they're saying is the gunshot detection systems, which we already what do they call those? I think it's shot blockers or shot something, but the formal name is the gunshot detection systems. And for that one, it says gunshot detection systems use acoustic sensing technology to identify, discriminate, and report gunshots to the police within seconds of the shot being fired. This improves police response times and provides public safety with an increased probability of intervening and arresting criminals. Companies such as ShotSpotter, that's what it's called, and shooter detection systems provide public safety agencies across the country with hardware and software solutions that detect shots fired and improve response times. So, I mean, I know that they're using. I don't think that, not that it doesn't work. Once it gets back to that 2000 being 2,000 police officers shy as far as city of Chicago, you can know all the shots everywhere, but if you don't have officers to respond, then you might as well not even have it. So I just think it's, at this point, it's useless.
I mean, let me ask this question for both of you guys. How many of you all have been over on the west side or the south side during the holidays, like New Year's Eve and on 4th of July?
Oh yeah, well, my dad used to shoot out the window on the New Year's Eve, and I know it's a common practice there on the west side because that's what we
Okay,
used to
well,
do. We lived
It's
there.
only on
it's
the
a
west side.
common
It's a
practice,
common
but
practice all over the state of Illinois.
Well, I'm just saying I lived on the west side, so I can just only speak for the
I
west
know
side,
it,
and
but
that's,
then it happens.
yeah. No, I know, but I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
okay,
He
well,
asked me a
no,
question.
okay,
That's what
It's
we
now
not a
let
did.
me
west
make the
side
point.
thing
Let
or
me
a
make the
south
point I
side
was trying to
thing.
make.
It's a
Yeah.
thing.
Okay, the point I'm trying to make with that is if you remember how that was during those times with all those gunshots in the air, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's a common thing that's going on now. And the kids out there now to disguise what's going on because they know about that program you're talking about with the acoustics. They shoot a
Mm-hmm.
lot of firecrackers and stuff when they get ready to shoot. So
Yep.
I can be sitting up in my house. I can be sitting in here tonight, and I hear a whole lot of rapid fire firing. I can't determine whether it's firecrackers or whether somebody's shooting.
Yeah.
And
That's
so
why I say it's useless. I
that's
think it's
why I know
useless.
it's useless. They should
Yeah.
take that money and do something else with it.
Yep. And what they need to do, I mean, not that it couldn't get better, but they've already packaged it up and said, oh, okay, we have this technology, but it's just like with anything, like let's say like an iPhone. I mean, there's always enhancements that you need to add to it to make sure that it's smarter. And clearly not doing that. And you would think it would behoove them to really improve that technology, especially because they have less police officers. They need more of a smart solution that's gonna work without having the personnel behind it. Because really, with this shot spotter, I mean, if you don't have someone that's gonna go and investigate it, I just think it's pointless.
Well, let me ask this question: how many times has the shot spotter stopped these people who have taken military style weapons and gone into crowds of people, and multiple people have gotten shot? How many times have you heard a report come out about shot spotter preventing anything happening in those cases? Or did it stop any additional people from getting shot or whatever? And until they can say that happens, until that system can be proven to be a preventative method for dealing with that, or something that helps just keep people safer, or get people out on the site to where it's happening, where the 15 or 20 people getting shot at a time will be would reduce to like one or maybe zero, then I don't think it's working like it's supposed to work.
Yeah,
Supposed to
but you know
work.
what though? I don't even think it was designed to work that way. I think.
Somebody please read Harriet Fry's
Okay, well, let me just
comment.
make this point and I'll read it. I think that it was
Okay,
designed to,
this is great.
really let people know, really as a response mechanism, not really as a prevention mechanism. Um, it's just like, okay, there's a shot over there, go and see what's happening. So, but yeah, so Harriet Fry has a comment. She says the primary focus must be on the neighborhood. Tourists won't come to areas where they do not feel safe. I live in the seventh safest city in the country. When a crime occurs, the entire city is on alert. Police dispatch temporary stations to monitor the area. Austin has all of the policies you are discussing in place. Oh, Austin, Texas. Emphasis is in place on the village mentality. Crime is more than a cultural problem. It is a deflection of what is going on in the home.
Thank
That's true.
you.
And let me just add this:
Thank you.
if
Thank
she
you.
means if she means Austin, Texas, don't forget Texas is open carry state too. So I don't know. Maybe that has something to do with it as well. Yeah,
But she
Texas is a
just made the
whole different
point.
whole
She
different
just
country
made
or
the point.
follow acts.
She says it's what's going on in the home, and
Right.
I mean, you gotta start in that house.
Yeah,
Okay,
but what are we gonna
if you don't start that discipline
okay,
in
that's
that,
true. But let me ask you this question. And I mean, you keep saying that, but how are you gonna do it? We can't the government
how
can't
did your
cannot
how did your parents deal with you?
no, but let me ask you no,
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 that's
no,
my
no, no, no.
question.
I'm gonna ask you this.
No, let me ask
I'm
you this
gonna ask you
question.
this,
That doesn't
and
matter
you
how
will answer my question.
right, but that doesn't matter how my parents dealt with me. I'm talking about the current situation of what's happening right
Okay.
now. You're saying that has to happen in the home. How do you
I'm trying to
expect
make
you are
I'm
you
trying to make a
suggesting
point that I want you to see
right, but
because
I'm okay, but I'm asking you, how do you suggest that they do it? You're saying it happens in the home. What's your suggestion? How do you, if they're not doing it in the home,
I just
how do you
told
want
you
to
a
get
few
them to
minutes
do it in the home?
ago that the kids that have grown up now, that are in their 20s, 21, 22, 20, these are probably children of young parents who are
Okay,
13,
you're
14.
talking about causation, Katie. I'm talking about
I'm
how are
through.
you going to
I'm through with it.
affect a different outcome? What are you suggesting happens? We know why it happened. What's the suggestion to change the trajectory? That's what
Well, I
I'm
mean, you can change the trajectory in one of two ways. One, if the government's going to start imposing penalties on people, hell, why not lock up some of the folks who are responsible for the kids being out on the street
okay.
who,
Okay, I can
who
get
are
with that.
doing it? Okay, so if you start picking the parents up and
Mm,
saying, okay, if your kid out there shooting somebody, we ain't gonna just arrest him. We're gonna
right.
come get you, and you gonna serve time, and you're gonna be paying the fine. We're gonna put you in jail.
So you're saying
No,
holding them
no, let me
accountable,
finish. Okay,
accountability.
okay, that's one of two things.
Okay.
If you're gonna be impunitive, then go ahead and tighten up, like they do in the countries like Russia and all these places.
Mm,
When they make rules, they impose the rules whether the people like it or not, and they do what they need to do to get what they want to get done. Now the
okay.
other thing that can happen is
Okay.
what we all hope that they eventually will realize they need to do, and
Okay.
that is
So you're
that
saying
there's,
holding those parents accountable then is what you're saying.
yeah, of course, and
Okay.
then of course now another thing that could be done is the government needs to stop being the in loco parent and trying to replace parents. We have to start trying to see if we can empower people to become the men who are supposed to be the good fathers and the
How
mentors,
would you do it? How would you empower them? What would you do?
training, and stop trying to emasculate them and make
What
them
kind of
be
training?
what how do you train how did your people train you to be the mama
No, but
that
I'm just
you are?
saying if your family well, my parents trained me, but if you don't have parents
Okay,
that
well
train
then of course
Thank you. You
then
answered the question.
right,
you
but no,
answer
no,
the
no. But how
question.
do you can't force a parent to train someone if they don't do it? What's the option? How are you going to train them if the
What the
parent doesn't
option
do
is,
it?
the option is, like I said, then you have to become punitive in another area if they're not trained properly.
Because that's
Because if
really
you
clearly
know
what the problem
look,
is.
what happens to a person if an 8 year old is out in the street and gets shot in the morning?
What you mean? What happens to who?
Yeah,
What
what
happened to
happens?
the parent?
What happens to the parent? Well, nothing.
If an 8 year old
So
is
are you
out
saying
in the street,
what should happen to the parent? Is that what you're saying?
No, that was my question. What
I mean,
happens?
I have no idea. You tell me. I don't
he
know.
should be that
I don't.
parent should go to jail.
The
He
parents
is
go to
8 years
jail.
old and he's out in the street.
So are you saying that's what currently happens, or you're saying that's what should happen?
Yes, the first thing they ask is where were the parents at 3 o'clock in the morning if the 8 year old's out in the street, and they
Okay.
get locked up for doing that.
So are they enforcing that? Because I don't know
Yes,
if they
they
are.
are enforcing that. See,
Okay.
it depends on the side of town we're on, I guess.
Okay.
If parents leave their children in the house unattended, they can go to jail for that.
Yep. They should.
They do.
I just question if they're, because there's so many that, remember the 11-year-old that was carjacking, when I'm sure it's more than just one, but for this child to be able to get away with this, like, who's being held accountable? I think he was a ward of the state, but then that means that he had a foster parent. Was that foster parent held accountable?
They should hold them accountable.
What's that?
If he is a ward of the state and he's in a foster home and he's out and he's 11 years old carjacking cars, they should hold him accountable.
Okay, but I guess I agree, but my question is, did they? What happened to? No one even talked about the foster parent. How was this kid able to keep doing this?
No, because they wind up winds up getting swept under the rug in many cases, and then the people, the agencies and everything wind up getting held responsible for it when it really boils down to it, because agencies are responsible for screening the foster parents so that they can find out whether they're fit to have foster children or not. They get paid for keeping those kids.
Right. Okay. All right. Let's move, because we are over time, but I want to go to this fifth one, the fifth and final one, and this is an interesting one. It talks about social media crowdsourcing, and it says here, the leading public safety agencies understand that without the public's cooperation, tackling violent crime is a steep uphill battle. Virtual engagement has taken off in recent years, both for major brands across industries and for people socially. It makes sense that departments across the country are flocking to social media to engage their communities and crowdsource tips, leads, evidence, and feedback from the public. Facebook is the leading social media platform used by 94% of law enforcement agencies, followed by Twitter at 71% and YouTube at 40%, according to the Social Media Guidebook for Law Enforcement Agencies by the nonprofit Urban Institute. It says here, crowdsourcing tips and information from the public is an extremely effective approach, but requires trust and a level of rapport that isn't built overnight. Increasing transparency with the community is a prerequisite for this strategy to work, which is why many public safety agencies are posting real-time crime and incident information to social media, so the public has a complete understanding of the problem at hand. This, to me, is this is loaded, because a lot of these things that come up are because of social media. A lot of these kids that are having these beefs against each other and shooting, a lot of it started, or I won't say started, but was facilitated through social media. So I don't know. For me, this is almost like a third rail. What do you guys think about this?
When I hear about that, I think about what happened to the Black Panther Party back when the FBI decided that they were an impending threat to the powers that be. The Black Panther Party was singled out, and all of the papers and everything across the country started talking about how dangerous the Panthers were. When the Panther Party actually was in place to protect the community, to train, and a lot of the programs the Panther Party advocated are still being utilized by the government now. And so, no. When you start talking about social media, they use the social media to hurt people and indoctrinate them and do everything. Hell, Trump used social media to form the Proud Boys and empower all the organizations that were supporting him and going up against the government. So we can't talk about social media. If they can use it, all I can say is this: if they can use it to do things harmful to our people, we can use it to heal our people and educate them well. So now who the fool?
Yeah. I mean, I hear you. I hear what you're saying. In a lot of cases, though, I guess I would probably not necessarily counter it, but I would say, and a lot of these kids, and I'm calling them kids, some of them are kids, like in their, teenagers, but a lot of them in their 20s are using social media to kind of tell on themselves. I mean, they'll be on there with, guns and describing what they're going to do to the ops, as they call them, the the opposition, gang. I don't even want to say gang, because a lot of them are not really gangs. They're more cliques, neighborhood cliques or whatever. But they get a personal beef. Someone disrespects them. They go on social media, say what they're going to do. They show up in a location and end up, killing each other. So I don't know. I think social media has a lot of positive things, but there's a dark side. And I think that, we kind of do ourselves in as a people, and especially our young people, utilizing social media in that way. And then also to what you're saying though, Don, I mean, yeah, social media can be very manipulative, and you can have people like what happened with the election in 2016, having bots on there and spreading all this disinformation. I mean, that's how Donald Trump won the election in 2016. So I don't know, I don't think it should necessarily be used as part of a strategy in policing. I think that we need more of a ground, because that's the problem. Everything is virtual. We need something that's going to be boots on the ground, and making a change in that way. So I don't know. What do you think, Katie? You've been kind of silent.
Well, I mean, I'm kind of silent on this one because I guess my opinions are, how people say they're out of touch.
Well, no, you say what hey, what do you say your opinions are like what?
They're like assholes.
Everybody's
got one.
So give
it
to us.
I'm being silent.
Give it to us, KL. Give it to us. We want to know.
That's well. So as far as social media, look who owns Facebook and Instagram.
Zuckerberg.
Look who has sent. Let me tell you something. I am probably one of the poorest heifers on Facebook. That everything that I do, they censor. They don't know. I don't have nothing. I don't have nothing. I live from paycheck to paycheck like most people do. But I can post something on Facebook, and everything I do is censored. But let me tell you, they have all these fake accounts out here.
All these algorithms.
Dead people. A lot of dead people I know have come back to haunt me and ask me for friendship from the grave.
We need an exorcism.
You know what I think about them?
Oh my God.
I think about it. They look. They can call them algorithm or whatever they want to. They do what they want to do.
Yeah.
They let you post what they want you to post. And if they don't want you posted, it gets lost in the metasphere.
It's the scary world of artificial intelligence. And that's something that, we need to talk about that, because that's a whole other subject.
Yes, it is.
Because that's essentially the algorithm. That's what it is, and it's telling, it's interpreting.
Honey, the algorithm is no better than the person that programmed it. Okay,
yeah,
somebody in metaverse.
But here's the thing, though. It's like it can't make up for nuance and human thought patterns and feelings and all that.
The algorithm can't even tell the difference between a podcast, a live stream, and a real ad.
Right.
If you got a real ad selling something, a legitimate ad, the algorithm don't know that we're a podcast. It has no idea.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Yeah. So
social media. What I say about the algorithm?
What?
Screw it.
Well, I'm going to just say this. Every time we give up 1 ounce of advancement in privacy and freedom, we sacrifice ourselves in this country. No matter whether we're rich, poor, black, white, whoever. Mm-hmm. Every time we give up just an inch, people take more than that from us. Take away our dignity, take away our privacy, and take away our self-respect. And I'm not giving up any more of mine. Now, y'all do what y'all want to do. In the world, the people I'm talking to, all of you all do what y'all want to do. But I'm on Route 66 right now. I'm not going no damn where.
You about to get your kicks on Route 66, right?
No. I am the kicks on Route 66.
You are the. Oh, excuse me.
I love it.
Excuse the heck out of me.
So if you want to find out where the kicks at, call me. And I'll let you know where to go.
I say you're playing around today.
The bullshit got to stop. Look. The cattle out of the pasture, and the bullshit is out in the field, baby. It's over with.
I heard that. This was a great show.
This is great. I enjoyed it.
It was, but I want to leave everybody. I want everybody to leave. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm straight.
Okay. I want to leave everybody with my opinion. And my opinion is it all starts with the home and it spreads abroad. So if it's not right in the home, it will run out, it will be out there on the street. Okay?
And my opinion is we have to have a way to, if it's not taken care of in the home, what's the alternative action?
The alternative is,
in my opinion, is this. Brothers, all you men, let's stand up and take our spots back. Because it don't belong to nobody else but us.
Okay. Well, on that note, I think we should end our program.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You've been listening to Opinions right here on Facebook, YouTube, and Spreaker. And you can catch us right here chopping it up every Monday at 7 p.m. with Opinionated Lorie, Professor John, and I am Katie Lowe. Catch me Wednesday, honey. I'm going to have Queen this Wednesday at 6 p.m. I'm going to have Queen Kiana. And they are going to be doing, they redid scenes from Eddie Murphy's Harlem Night.
Oh, that should be fantastic.
Honey, she played the part of Della Reese, and I tell you something.
Ooh, not Della Reese. Della Reese was a whippersnapper.
Listen, she said, "I'm in charge of the girls."
Oh my goodness!
And Brian played the part of Quick.
Brian Macklemore Smith, a dear friend of the show.
And she told him to, kiss her. You know what? And he said, "Okay, but it's gonna take me a little while." And he started kissing, her. And there was somebody telling me, "Kissing, sugar, kiss it. You gotta check it out." And we're gonna have clips.
Well, definitely be sure to check that out.
Yeah, you gotta check it out. And again, we want to thank our sponsor, Over Cleaning Inc. We want to thank you so much for sponsoring the show.
Thank you.
And everybody have a great evening. And I'll see you Wednesday.
And I'll see you next Monday.
And Professor.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, Texas.
Things are big.
Now, faith. It is the substance of things that is hoped for, and the evidence of things not seen. Faith. Where is your faith? See, I'm talking about that mustard seed. Faith. Come on with it. Show the Lord your faith. Well, I know him, this I know of him, he's my healer. This I know that I know that he is faith. And I know him, this I know of him, he's my deliverer. This I know that he is faith.